All right. We're here from LeadsCon 2025, MGM Grand. All right, everybody settle down there. All right. Hey, I'm Ruben Ugarte. I'm the general manager of home services here at ActiveProspect.
Hi, I'm Will McGinnis. I'm the director of sales at FullThrottle.
So really excited. We're filming live from LeadsCon, MGM Grand, the home service suite. We just finished a publisher lead vendor mixer. We're doing a home service dinner tonight. And I think we're kind of switching it up. Usually we do traditional kind of educational webinars, and we hope that that's what this is. But we kind of wanted to switch it up. We have some guests, and we're here at LeadsCon. So shout out to Michael Ferrer, who used to do LeadsCon Live about 5-6 years ago. He does lead generation world now, but his kind of interview style kind of inspired this. In home services, there's a lot of buyers. There's a lot of folks who come out here. I'm not too sure how many of you in the audience have come before, and I think we have a poll question coming up down the road for that. But ultimately, the goal of this show or this podcast, this webinar, is to educate folks who aren't able to come. I've probably met with at least 15 home service brands just yesterday, and kind of today and tomorrow are the main days. How about yourself?
Yeah, roughly the same.
Yeah, and you guys have a booth here?
We do. Booth
Cool.
250.
How many people do you bring from your company?
Brought two of my guys. One focused in the lead and affiliate space, and then Frank Turno, who is known by a lot of people in the home services.
Cool. Why don't you tell us, the audience, a little bit about FullThrottle?
Yeah, we're a marketing tech platform. We generate audiences for home service companies through first-party audiences, that is, and market to them to help put your brand back in front of those consumers as they're going through their journey.
And Will's been an amazing partner. We've known each other for a few years now, and a lot of the mutual clients who've had success. Thanks for being part of the experiment.
Thank you.
So myself, ActiveProspect, we're a lead management, compliance, intelligent lead routing platform. I think what makes us really unique is that we have a lot of buyers and a lot of installers who use our technology in a bunch of different areas all over the country. Like I mentioned earlier, we're meeting with a lot that are here today. We're doing a dinner with about 50, 55 installers from, I think, about 28 different brands. And so on today's show, we are going to kind of bring a few of these guests on and talk about LeadsCon, what they're doing in home services. And if you have questions in the audience, please feel free to ask them, because we are monitoring the questions on the second screen here. And so our first guest is a friend. He's a client of ours. He represents a company called Home Pride, who is the Kohler dealer out of Colorado. So please welcome Matt Collagen. Matt, come on in.
Feel like I'm Andy Richter and you're.
And just so you know, we have a live audience of about 60 people watching us right here in this room.
That could have been a little enthusiastic, though.
Yeah. Matt, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate you making time. I know you're a busy guy. So we're here at LeadsCon Live. How many LeadsCons have you come to or been to?
This is probably my fifth one over the years.
Gotcha.
I think the first one I came to was in 2012. It may have been the first one or maybe the second one that they had.
Yeah. Mine was 2014. So
where I quickly realized that I was buying leads the wrong way.
Right. I feel the same way. Like you come here and then you realize, oh, I'm buying leads from you, but you're buying them from him, and then he's getting them from you. Oh, wow. Okay, I need to kind of get down funnel here. So LeadsCon, what do you do here? What is it? What are you doing here, and what does a day look like for you?
Yeah. So I think I come to this one all the time, and I try to make this one a part of my schedule every year, just because there's so many people that come here and you get to meet so many different people. The networking is great. And if I get one or two relationships out of this, it's fantastic. So I go through and just meet all the vendors, talk to the vendors, the ones that make sense for our company, for our business, and looking for new sources, new innovative ways, or software, or something that I can add to the tech stack that's going to improve our contact rate or our conversions.
And when you're meeting with folks, are you doing it like, are they emailing you? Are they LinkedIn? Are you using the app? Is it?
I'll use the app, and then usually before I'll get some notifications from people that want to meet up. But mostly I just show up and just start, as they say, shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah. Do you feel the same way, Will? Like kind of using the app, or how does FullThrottle look at this type of event?
Yeah, I think for this event, the app is really intuitive to connect others, and I think the team did a really good job of setting some meeting early on. But I think good old-fashioned handshakes and kissing babies. I think the lobby bar is a good spot to network around 6 o'clock. Events like ActiveProspect last night at Topgolf, I think are also great.
That's right. We did a Topgolf event. Shout out to Squeeze. Who else was a sponsor? Link Unite.
Yeah.
And Blair, you can talk. It's okay. We're on a podcast. You can, just so you know, our producer Blair is back here, has been working to get this taken care of. So shout out to Blair. So you're here at LeadsCon Live. So you're unique in the space because, one, you're on the install side as Kohler's Colorado dealer, but you also own a lead generation brand called Buku Leads. So how do you divvy up your time, and how does that work out?
Well, we got a couple guys from Buku that are here, and it's really just one big networking event. And you got to get out of the office. You got to get out from behind the desk. And we talked about that last night a little bit. I make time for these things because this is where it happens. And if you're going to advance your business, and you're going to try to be innovative, and you're going to try to make a difference, you better talk to people. You better get out and make those things happen.
It's surprising how many folks I talk to who spend tens of thousands of dollars on leads who just can't make it out here. Like, I'm too busy. And like, you come out here one time. Shout out to Nick Calderon from PJ Fitz, Patrick, who I convinced, like, his CEO and his leadership team, like, oh, you got to send Nick out here. He walked in this morning. He's like, this has been the best event I've ever been to. He's like, I met like 10 different lead sources. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. So absolutely.
Between the lead sources and the software, and just keeping up to date with the educational component of the event, and just being in the know. They might not go super deep on some of the things, but at least they're sparking something, and maybe spark an idea, or go back and check this out and do a deep dive on a certain thing.
Absolutely.
I think post-COVID, shaking hands is a component of growth. The growth engine that, at FullThrottle, we're fairly young. And when we started coming to shows just to start shaking hands, building brand is a critical, outcome of that.
And you guys are in a bunch of different kind of verticals. So how many shows do you do a year? Like,
there's a lot of testing and learning.
We
did 26 last year across 7 different verticals. But home services is definitely where we invest a lot more money. It's a vertical that's near and dear to our heart, along with automotive.
So I've been coming to the show since 2014. Originally as a buyer, and kind of now as a software brand. And every year I come, I meet new folks, and you see the same people consistently, and you kind of meet with folks, and it's a great opportunity to kind of build kind of that relationship, and also fellow installers, right? Like, we were having a conversation. I was trying to convince Huff and Puff Renewal by Anderson to be on the show. And you guys have been friends. You guys are part of the Big 12.
Right.
What is the Big 12? Tell us about that.
Big 12 is an industry group of home services companies that share ideas. It's like a mastermind group, and gives us the ability to bounce ideas off of each other. And hey, have you tried this? And do you have any success with that? And we do it by department. So our department heads meet on their own, the owners meet on their own, so that we're able to have candid conversations within the group, non-competing. So
non-competing regions or non-competing products? Regions. Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
I love that. Automotive, big 20 group. 20 groups are a big thing in the automotive space. 20 dealers, usually similar brands, different markets. So you're again not competing, but sharing candidly. I think it's important. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Have you guys gone to any sessions or agendas yesterday? Did you guys see anything? I went to kind of a lead scoring session that was pretty decent, kind of high level stuff, but seemed to be standing room only. Any sessions that you guys attend that were worthwhile?
I went to the AI session. There was a session on AI and data analytics and data science. And you quickly realize, you think you're a little bit down the road on some of these things,
right?
And you quickly realize there are a lot of people that are way further down the road that have especially when you come here, when you talk to like higher ed and insurance and mortgage, these guys are just so far down the road. That's why I like coming to this, because you can see what they're doing, which is at least will drive home services in a direction.
Right.
You know what they've tried, and you can kind of blueprint off of or roadmap off of what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like over the last 5 years, it's become more kind of home service focused, driven, whereas before it was all financial services, mortgages, education space, legal, auto, and more you're starting to see speakers. Shout out to Bastian from DeBella, who I heard did really well on his panel yesterday. And I know the last LeadsCon, Modernized and American Standard kind of were like one of the opening remarks, which was pretty cool to see.
Have you guys introduced AI in your organization, and like what areas have you tested it out?
So we've got a little bit of AI coming in on the texting. So it's responding, and that seems to be working well. We're getting some conversions there. Right now we're working on an agent for overflow and after hours.
Okay.
So a live voice agent. So
yeah, the chat and the voice agents seem to be the easiest entry point to utilizing AI and just introducing it to your brand.
Yeah. The next step would be, layer the difficult piece with the AI is understanding what ecosystem you're going to live in, and then what are you going to build off of, and how are you going to create a foundation, and so that you don't become instantly obsolete in a month. So you have to pick something that's going to be there and that you can build off of and have incremental or bolt on, and that's a hard thing right now.
Yeah, I feel like the word AI or just AI in general is like on 15 sessions, and like if you just put the word AI, you'll have a standing room.
We've talked about it with some people on the AI piece, which I found interesting, is that most of it is right now is actually machine learning,
right?
And it's not even real AI; it's just automations and machine learning, and where the AI is coming in, it's like very small percentage.
Yeah, I thought I'm like killing it, like using ChatGPT to like do my LinkedIn posts, and I was in there earlier, and it's like, oh, don't use that one, use this one. I'm like, all right.
We have a question from the crowd for both of you.
Okay.
Since you've both been coming for over a decade now, how has LeadsCon differed from previous years beyond one-to-one consent, obviously, quote unquote?
I mean, I kind of touched on this earlier. I would say that the rise of home services, I mean, when I would come here as a buyer for a solar company in 2014, 2015, it was like Momentum Solar and like Sunrun and maybe a couple of roofing companies. Now it's like everybody's here, bath companies, private equity companies. I mean, it really has become the place to be for brands looking to, who are not only growing in third-party lead generation or lead gen in general, but I met brands yesterday who are like, I've never bought third-party leads, but I'm here to learn, and we want to figure out the right tech stack.
Yeah. I can tell you just from the years coming here, this year in particular, this is the busiest year I've seen it here.
Yeah.
This is the biggest crowd by far.
Yeah.
This is the most cocktails I'm going to have by far.
Yeah.
This is so I've only come the last 3 years since I met you, Ruben. So just the last 3 years in a row, and I'll echo it. It has grown every single year.
Right.
And even I think one of the shocking things to me setting up our booth yesterday was Snapchat and
Snapchat's here.
presence. So
Yeah.
seeing Google on some panels, seeing Snapchat, like that just tells me that they see what you guys are doing, and they want to be a part of it.
Do you do any Snapchat advertising, TikTok, like on that?
We don't do Snapchat, but we were at a TikTok cocktail party last night.
Did you do like a dance video or anything like that?
My daughter would be mortified.
But all the more reason to do it.
Yeah. But we do see some value in TikTok and advertising on the platform. So I think it's a place that we're going to be.
Yeah, I know our integration team is kind of have like a TikTok, Snapchat relationship, and kind of figuring that out as homeowners become younger. Well, kind of, not to kind of go into Downerville here, but the economy.
Let's switch gears.
Yeah, switch gears.
Yeah.
The economy.
Sure.
A lot of things going on. Pretty gnarly week here in the U.S. and around the world. As a Colorado-based brand,
Right.
representing Kohler, how do you see kind of the changes that are happening? How do you view that, and how do you relay that to your team? Like just kind of broad perspective.
I've had those conversations this week. And some people are a little more the sky is falling than others. And my perspective on it is I heard a statistic just the other day. 10% of the entire U.S. population owns 88% of all the equities in the stock market. So it's affecting 10% of the population.
Yeah.
And so that leaves us with 90%. So where are our customers? Probably in that 50 to 90 range. Ultimately, I believe that we finance 67% of all of our projects. So this is really about consumer lending more than anything else.
Right.
Our consumer isn't selling stocks to buy a bathroom. What they're financing the bathroom. They're either using our no payment, no interest option or some other type of consumer lending. So in this particular situation, the last couple of days, and it's turned around this morning, it's up like 1,200 points today.
Yeah.
So it drives down that 10-year bond, which has been below 4% for the first time in a long time, which drives down interest rates. So that's a good thing for home services. So
it's a phenomenal answer. That's why I asked that question. Look at that. See that? We're here at LeadsCon Live. Matt, any other questions for Matt? Otherwise, man, thank you so much for coming on LeadsCon Live. I appreciate you.
It was a pleasure to be
on the day out there.
Inauguration.
Yeah. So we're going to transition, but we have a poll question. And so hold on. Well, I think the crowd wants to send you off here. Matt.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matt. All right, we love Matt. Yes, everybody does. And our poll question today. Does it come up live on the screen?
It's here. Okay.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay. Oh, Will, do you want to read that out real quick? Will have my champagne real quick?
He's on empty. How many of you have been to LeadsCon before? Your choices are, I am here now. Why don't you say hi? Just send us a note. I've been here before, or I've never been, and now I have a lot of FOMO.
Yeah. So LeadsCon Live. We're excited. So that was a great first guest. Matt obviously has a lot of kind of insight, and I think Matt, your company, if we could talk to him while he leaves, has how many employees?
Right now, about 20.
About 20 employees. Okay, so based out of Colorado, Kohler, great perspective. And so yeah, so continuing on, you ready for our next guest?
Yeah, I think we're doing really good too.
I think you're doing great. All right, so our next guest is a friend of mine, and I've known him for about 5 years. Let's welcome Dave Evans from DeBella. Dave, hey, you're here. Nice, we got him in here.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, guys.
All right, come on,
We have time.
everybody. All right,
We have time.
everybody. Man, so one, thank you for making time. I know you're a busy guy. So kind of going to go through some of the same questions. We're here at LeadsCon. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm living my best life. So this is my third LeadsCon, and I think like my first year, I didn't know what was going on. Running around, Ruben helping me find people, and this year I'm kind of pacing myself. So really, what I noticed is people are coming together. Different verticals are coming together to talk about ways that we can win, and I've really been trying to make more connections this year than before. So not only the 50 scheduled meetings I have the next 2 days, but also just meeting tons and tons of people. Even if they're sitting at a gambling machine and they have a badge on, I walked up and I'm like, hey, I'm Dave Evans with DeBella. And they're like, 9 times out of 10, they know DeBella. Even if they aren't in my industry, they know us. So that's unbelievable.
That's awesome. So you're talking about different industries, maybe to kind of touch on that. So like, how so? Like outside of home services, like financial services, loans. So
yeah, loans.
Delve into that. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like?
So for me, it's, what are ways potentially that we can look at getting leads other ways? Maybe, people are coming in off of loans. Maybe we can, potentially piggyback on the end of that or something, more ways to diversify your lead flow. That's my goal. I never want to have all my eggs in one basket. I think the last person that talked on here was talking about that. You want to diversify, because what if your big vendor goes down for some reason and then you have no leads,
or your competitor buys your biggest vendor?
Yeah.
So you mentioned, is there really 50 meetings you have between?
Yeah.
Wow.
Easy.
And so how do you get those meetings? Is it via email, or are you using the app? How does that work for you?
Email, app, Snapchat, Messenger, Facebook Messenger,
Whoa,
LinkedIn. Like, everybody reaches out to me. Literally hundreds of affiliates have reached out to me. I'm a busy guy.
So wait, are you dancing on these Snapchats?
I could. If you want it, I will do it. I mean, if you have sighting leads, let's go.
So you're on all these platforms. Let's kind of delve into, like, what does a meeting look like? Are you giving them like your filters? Like, what kind of questions do you interact with, and how does that?
Kind of like an interview, right? You go into it and you have kind of a set list of questions. You have data you want to give them, like, what's the size of your company? How much do you want to grow? I mean, we're on a huge growth trend, which we've done the whole time. So really, it's, I'm looking for partners that not only, they don't have to be big, but do they want to get big? Because I don't want to outgrow them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which I've done. You just kind of bowl over them, like a freight train. So
yeah, and it's funny. I mean, we had so I saw you for Affiliate Summit West. We had lunch, and you were talking about making it to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Which, you want to explain to the audience kind of what that means?
So we onboard roughly 3 to 5 months, and we try to get your KPIs up, and then we have a long-term management team that manages the accounts, the home advisors, or the bigger accounts. So my goal is to get them off to that team, and it's kind of like American Idol. You're going to Hollywood, so everybody wants to go to Hollywood. It's a real exciting thing. And last year, roughly onboarded about 49 companies.
Wow.
9 of them went to Hollywood, so about 20%. My goal this year is 20 to go to Hollywood. So we ramped it up a little bit.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're onboarding these folks, you're giving them media spend, you're trying to kind of nurture them to success, and then ultimately they can earn their way to kind of an unlimited type of spend, or okay, wow,
hundreds of thousands potentially.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yep.
And you mind me asking, DeBella nationwide, 30 something offices?
52 locations
52.
in 22 states, and we're going to open 10 more this year, and on track hopefully for 12 to 15.
Congrats on your success and
Thank you.
Your team's success. In terms of media spend, what's an average pilot or IO look like for all these lead vendors listening? What is it average? What does it look like?
Usually I try to stay, right around a 4-state launch. So it's, me personally, I like to go with our oldest locations, what's our more proven sales guys who could sell, who can convert. And then, it's a 4-state launch. We do, so many thousand per state, roughly around 40,000 for the 4 states for the month. To be honest, nobody's ever hit that. I had a unicorn that got a couple hundred leads, but nowhere do they spend 40,000 in leads, do the math on that. But it's there. So, we definitely have, room to play, and love our vendors. If you have sighting leads, call me, by the way, please.
I'm getting the vibe. You're looking for sighting leads here. So kind of switching gears. So I kind of asked Matt the same question. Economy, gnarly week. Matt kind of gave his perspective. From your company or from your team's perspective, how are you guys viewing this next year and this kind of the outlook?
So, obviously a lot of unknowns. What we kind of pivoted to was what happened during COVID, right? 2020. A lot of companies pulled back. We opened 8 offices that first year in COVID, and I think 6 or 7 the year after that. So we grow. That's what we do. We keep going. So very heavy leadership driven. John Maxwell, we love. We love the laws of leadership, the laws of teamwork.
That's awesome.
So we train that very heavily, and we will find ways to win.
That's awesome. I like that. How many employees does DeBella have?
2,200 right now.
2,200 across 54 offices.
52 in 22 states. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, any questions?
I'm also curious, given that framework and your presence in the platforms you mentioned, how has AI kind of come into play for you guys, or has it, or have you introduced it?
That's an interesting topic. So I've definitely delved into it a lot since it launched, a couple years ago in November, the ChatGPT. For us personally, you could say, let's say through a tool like CallRail, it listens to calls and it can score calls. That's AI, right?
Yeah.
At an early entry point, kind of easy for everybody to do. So we do that. Me personally, and I'll just tell you guys real quick, I did a little side project, I don't mind telling you, and I took 5 of our reviewers on. I took 5 of our reviewers on Yelp, and took 3 of their reviews, 1 DeBella, and then 1 like restaurant and let's say a barber. And then I said, give me a buyer persona built off this DeBella review. And ChatGPT said, and spit it out. And then I said, okay, now take the second review, and would it modify that buyer persona at all? And spit it out. I said, yes, it would, and whatever. And then I said, okay, do it for the 3rd review. And then after that's all done, I said, okay, now create a buyer persona number 1 for this buyer, so I can present it to my CMO and spit it out. And it's beautiful. And then I said, okay, now here's 4 more reviewers, do the same thing. And it did it. And then I said, okay, now I want you to create 10 more buyer personas, not like these 5 you just did. And it spit out 10 more. So then I said, okay, now ChatGPT, I want you to go ahead and how would my marketing team capitalize off these buyer personas? And it spit out over 40 ways we can use that in our marketing channels. So very powerful, very, very entry level AI stuff. We're changes every week, like what you've already heard on the conversation today. But I'm actively finding ways that I can test these systems and make it work for our company.
I do remember, I think it was maybe last year or the year before, I see Dave on the floor and he kind of comes up to me. He's like, hey, I need to talk to you. I'm like, what's up? He's like, what's up with AI and lead conduit? I'm like,
why are you guys using it?
Yeah, why are you using it? Like, why don't I just say what I need and then it just does it? I'm like, all right, I'll take that back to the product team.
Yeah.
So we got to work on that one, guys. Anything else to share, Dave? And I know you're a busy guy. You guys are growing. I saw Bastian, your CMO, shout out to Bastian, did a presentation. How was that?
That was awesome. Yeah. He talked about AI in the lead gen marketplace, and he was in that talk. So really good, high level. Actually, one of the ladies that was talking with him, I went up and shook her hand. She was awesome. Yeah. These talks are really good. If you haven't come here, come here next year. You'll meet me too, and hey, hopefully you have sighting leads. But it's a great time. We all have a great time. You're gonna meet Ruben.
I think it's awesome. I mean, I think so for myself, coming here as a buyer in 2014, I worked for a residential solar company, spending about $1 million a month. I mean, for a lot of folks, you get kind of siloed within your own organization, whether small or big. And a lot of times you don't really have a lot of people to talk to outside of your direct marketing team. But when you come here, you get to meet sellers, you get to meet other buyers, and everyone's to some degree somewhat of a community and kind of sharing. And like you're saying, you're working with other verticals and they're trying to work with you. And it's interesting because you're spending $100,000 a month, 150 grand. You're like, yeah, I'm big shit over here. And then you meet someone, you're like, you're spending $3 million in media spend, like, whoa, $4 million.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of ups that perspective. And then, like anything, right? You come to it, you spend some time, and then you start to, learn from others and meet people.
So I have a couple questions. So you have 50 meetings. How many have you done so far? Did you do a bunch yesterday?
Oh yeah. I did 22 meetings yesterday. A lot of them were like 5 minutes. So, you meet with somebody, this is what I need, sighting leads. This is what we do. This is, kind of like how we run our onboarding. And then, it could be a 5-minute talk, but
I got to do all those 2 elevator pitches yesterday.
You did?
Oh, literal elevator.
In the elevator. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that.
Shout out to Ben and Javier. So, all right. So my follow-up to that is, what's one thing you learned? You seem like you're very knowledgeable in the space and in the digital space. But is there something that you learned that was like an aha moment for you out of those meetings yesterday?
So I had a side conversation with somebody, and this is really interesting. And they were talking about a way, I don't know if you guys know what PX is, but they're a pretty large lead aggregator marketplace. But what if you 100x'd PX? What if it was the worldwide marketing chain and we all tied into it somehow? And we're able to work together because the market's so big, it can accommodate all companies. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you do the math on this stuff, it's crazy. Some of you know what I'm talking about. So how do we do that? There's really we have Sempo, which is a marketing organization, but we really have no lobbying groups or anything like that. What does that look like for us? How do we protect us as the buyers, as the organization? That was kind of a weird talk that came out of nowhere. Fascinating.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
It's awesome.
So kind of inner lead generation, kind of lobbying,
framework, collective. Yeah. What does that look like? How does it all come together?
That'd be a long title though. PXX.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, that's awesome. I mean, those are the types of conversations you can have when you're here. And any other questions, Will? I know that you have a busy day and.
No, thank you. I've learned a lot.
Dave, thank you so much for being on our show.
Yeah. Hey.
First show right here.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. Dave from Devella. And let's go ahead and thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Busy guy. Looking for sighting leads.
Yeah.
He's gonna go get some sighting leads. And feel free to Matt, Dave, if you guys have other stuff, feel free. I know it's probably hot in here. Thank you guys. Just one more time. One more time.
I'll see you tonight. Yeah, see you at dinner.
So for you, you're
no.
So for FullThrottle, you guys have your booth. You're going to your booth after this.
Mm-hmm.
Is the main focus on home service brands or?
Yes, for Frank and for me. LeadsCon is a great opportunity for us. We found a lot of opportunity in the mortgage space, in the tort law space, legal space, and in higher ed as well. But as I said earlier, home services is near and dear to our heart. That's why we've invested so much in our partnership with you. But that's also evolved, not just with the Godfather, Ruben, but with the rest of your team and the other verticals,
awesome.
Which has been really, really awesome to collaborate together.
And you mind me asking maybe the kind of the same framework question with kind of everything going on in the economy and stuff like that as a software brand, how do you guys view it? Is there any changes you guys are making internally to focus on or not focus on?
We have found a niche in the past couple of years with agency type partners. So media agencies, There's a lot of advisor type organizations out there that we've worked really, really well with.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a mild pivot, not a pivot. But we've really opened up that exploration in that space. In the other industries that we're seeing, I think, it was an interesting week, and I think there is a lot of noise out there, but there is also a lot of real things that are happening in the higher education space. There's a lot of grant concerns, which give them concern on enrollment and that sort of thing, just in higher ed. And that interest rate, I love hearing. He left already, but Matt, like the interest rate, I think will be a significant win for that lending space.
Right,
I think
because everyone's fighting financing.
Yeah, credit unions and small banks, I think, are struggling there.
Yeah. Well, next on our podcast, a gentleman who is well known in the industry, hailing from a company called Bath Experts. Why don't we welcome Jay Shaw to LeadsCon Live? Jay,
how's it going? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Look at this. This is awesome.
This is awesome, right?
What a setup. Took me a minute to find the place.
I know,
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a good story. So, let me turn the.
No, let them go. Let them go.
Guys,
Yeah. Sit down, guys. Sit down. Yeah. I don't need the standing.
Yeah, sometimes the crowd just gonna let you out of it, So what's interesting, so Jay, I've known of you for many years. I think, and I mentioned this when I think we met for the first time here last year.
Probably, yeah.
And I met you and I'm like, you're Jay Shaw. I've been introduced to you like 10 times and you never responded to my email. And so it's great to have you on the show, man. Thank you. Same question that we had for the other guests. LeadsCon 2025. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Yeah, this is probably like the 4th or 5th one that I've gone to, but it always improves, right? They always take the feedback, they make it better. Yeah. There's always new partners here. Last year, TikTok had a big presence. This year, Snapchat does. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to find lead partners,
right?
Like software, tech stack stuff. I'm pretty set. I don't really have a lot of needs there. But it's always just like finding new lead partners. Hey, can you sell me shower leads? And, eventually cabinet leads. We're launching that over the summer. So that's always the goal, right? Hence the name LeadsCon. Yeah.
And so what does your agenda look like? So we hear Dave mention 50 meetings.
Yeah.
Is your schedule kind of like that too?
Yeah. I get to feel like the pretty girl in the bar.
All right.
Yeah. Everyone hitting me up. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, it's nice, Very tall. Oh yeah. And that's the number one thing I get told is like,
drink water.
You're tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I literally 50, just like you said earlier, it's nonstop.
And so, what does the meeting look like? Are you coming into them like you're showing them your filters, or you're like, what is that meeting?
Yeah. So my bio in the app literally just says, if I want shower leads, talk to me. Like that. It's very straightforward, very simple, just 2 sentences. And that tends to get the message across. So then I have people hitting me up on the app saying, hey, I have shower leads. Let's talk.
Yeah. Dad in me wants to say shower me with leads.
Oh, what a good pun. I need to change it right now. I'll change it after this. Yeah. I mean, I still have the second half to take advantage of that. That's a good one. So literally.
And I'll just show, it literally does like right there. It says, hi, I'm looking to purchase shower and cabinet leads, j.shaw@bathexperts.com.
That's it. Straightforward. That's very simple. Yeah. Get the point across. That's it, and then I have people hitting me up on LinkedIn or the app, get to schedule things out, and staying organized is the hardest part. Like, you have all these meetings set up in the app side, got to put them on the calendar, make sure I don't stand anyone up or anything like that. And
I feel good about yesterday. I had about 10 meetings and I kind of spaced them out. And there was only one that I wasn't able to connect with. And I felt like that was super successful.
90%
confidence. It's like I'm in, I got to these meetings, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm not trying to like bail.
Right.
Whereas my first year here, I had 20 meetings and I felt like I didn't accomplish anything because you're not having meaningful conversations because you're always worried about
the next
where you
one
need to be at.
Yeah.
Before we go into some next questions with you, Do we have some questions from the
We
audience?
we do have a new question.
Oh, okay.
Fun.
Jay, specifically to home services, so that fits.
Hmm.
Beyond the economy, what are the 3 biggest challenges or changes facing the industry this year?
Ooh, I like
Shit, put me on the spot. Yeah, it's you guys. I heard you guys talking about AI earlier, and like take a shot every time someone says AI. You're gonna be out before lunch. And so it's kind of like that word has lost value a little bit because it's everyone. Yeah, I know it's in your name, so sorry, I don't mean to put you on blast like that. Actually, I just launched with FullThrottle, by the way. Frank, yeah.
Wow.
So, but I digress. And so, there's trying to sift through all the AI offerings that are out there to find what's valuable to the actual organization and whether or not it's going to make a meaningful difference, or whether it's just like the flash in the pan, just the new fun thing,
right?
That won't really make a meaningful impact. So just sifting through that is one of the hardest things right now, and just trying to find, hey, what's going to make the most sense to implement, and like, can I get actual value out of it?
Yeah, I sat in on a lead scoring panel yesterday, standing room only, totally packed, kind of high level stuff, but revisiting something that a lot of people don't do or do versions of. And I think that's kind of cool to be able to, you're having your meetings, you pop into a session, you learn about lead scoring, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I gotta do lead scoring, I gotta figure that out, or stuff like that.
Funny story about FullThrottle.ai is we're born in 2018 out of our agency, and FullThrottle is also an energy drink. So while AI is a big component of what we do, we went with .ai because .com was
already taken.
So like, you know what I mean? It's funny happenstance because we did build that into our platform.
It's future-proofed
it. But that was in 2018, right? Well before we were talking about ChatGPT.
You guys were there first.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, pioneered. Yeah.
Jay, tell us about Bath Experts. I know you guys are growing. Congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
We hung out in Cabo for the Jacuzzi Dealer Summit. That was good times.
What a blast.
What's going on with Bath Experts? Tell the audience, for those who don't know, what is Bath Experts?
Yeah, so we're a jacuzzi bath wraps dealer. We're in about 2,000 zips, 3 states. Definitely not as big as DeBella. So I'm coming in after him, and very small potato compared to him. But we're launching cabinets over the summer because there's not really a lot of geographical expansion opportunities when you're in the jacuzzi dealer network. So they're all those, like, we're butting up against other areas that are already taken. So then how do you continue to grow the company? Well, the next logical step is launching a new vertical. So that's what we're doing with the cabinet. Yeah, and exactly. And that way we don't have all our eggs in one basket either. And I'm really, really excited. About the cabinet launch.
And is it cabinets? Is it like resurfacing? Is it new cabinets?
Yeah, it's refacing. So the box stays, and then you take off the door, new hinges, new door, and then you put a really thick vinyl over the box so that way it matches, right?
Interesting.
But it's a lot cheaper for the homeowner
than taking them out and redoing them.
Exactly. Gotcha. Taking the box out, that's really expensive. Takes a lot more time, like week-long renovation, whereas we're going to get it done in as little as 2 days with the refacing. So it's a really popular product in that sense, but there's a lot of opportunity there because it's not as saturated as showers, windows, roofing, siding.
Right.
So I'm anticipating sort of a better cost per acquisition.
Okay.
Hopefully, because I'm not competing against so many people for the same product. I mean, you go to one of our home shows and there's like a dozen one-day bath companies, but hardly any cabinet companies. Next time you're at a home show or an event, just keep an eye out for it. And, there's not a lot of players in that space just yet.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get in there and take advantage of that.
Yeah. Interesting. In terms of kind of similar question I asked the other guests, when you talk to a lead vendor and like an insertion order or a test, how do you approach that? What does that look like for someone like yourself?
I'm kind of like a pain in the ass to work with. So, I don't, people like, I got to talk to Jay because I negotiate and be a total pain in the ass. And then I don't work on cost per lead models. So I don't have a single vendor. I just paused my last one last month because it didn't work out. So I don't pay per lead, right? So sometimes people want to play and they're like, okay, let's chat. And I love that. Because they have confidence in the quality of their leads, so they don't care. I don't want you to pay me per lead. I want to get a percentage of the revenue generate, or I want to be per demo or per issue deployment.
So for those in the audience, this guy is like the rev share king. He's literally going to vendors and saying, I'm not going to pay you CPL. You're going to send me your leads. And then when I get a sale, I will pay you.
Or or like I'll try to meet in the middle on like cost per lead issued or cost per demo. Exactly. So some sort of performance element. So they have a little bit of skin in the game and they care about the quality of what they're sending me. Because if I'm going to pay you $100 a pop for a lead, you don't care what junk you're sending me. You're going to get paid regardless. Right. And so that stuff always just fizzles out over time. And so some people are like, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, that's fair. I mean, I respect that, but we won't be able to work together. And then others are super open to a test because, like I said, they have that confidence in their lead quality. Like, it's going to work for you, and I'm here to prove it. And so, like, you got to develop a little bit of trust. Like, transparency is really important. Daily disposition files, be very, very responsive. Talk to them. Like, they've never worked with me before. They don't know me. I'm not going to run off with their leads and not pay invoices, but they don't know that, right? So you got to develop that trust. And these face-to-face meetings at LeadsCon go a long way towards that versus doing a Google Meets. So
I feel like the face-to-face meeting changes kind of the whole dynamics of the relationship. They're like, oh, you come to this, I'll have to see you again. And, you know, I want to buy more leads from me. So I'm not going to like not pick up your phone call. And so, yeah, absolutely.
So that's why one of the main reasons why I like coming to this is it just helps foster those existing relationships, but then build new ones with people. And like when I'm able to talk to them in person, like I talked to a guy yesterday and he's like, I would normally do this, but you have good energy. You seem to know what you're talking about. And I'm willing to try this with you. Like, I don't think I would have been able to convince him on a Zoom call. Yeah. But in person, I don't know. I was yelling at him and he was like, all right, I'm in, you know, you convinced me.
See, I was worried about your energy level. I heard you were pretty.
Yeah.
We have another question if you're up for it. Maybe Dave talked a lot about it, but this question is, are there any lessons you've learned from other industries at LeadsCon that could apply to home services?
Oh, interesting. I don't really talk to, I mean, maybe I should, but I don't really talk to people from other industries all that much. So like there's like loans, mortgage, insurance, all that fun stuff here.
You're not hanging out with the debt settlement guys, huh?
Oh yeah, I know. Maybe I need to. So that's a good opportunity for me, but I don't have any because I haven't really had any conversations in that regard. But that's a good question and a good opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like I walked into a debt settlement kind of sweet party last night and
really?
walked right out. They party a little different over there.
Yeah.
So question, was there any other questions from the audience? Was that the only one?
That's the only new one.
And feel free, those who are listening, if you have any other questions, we're reading them straight from this.
There's one for you. We'll do at the Q&A. Like cool. As we wrap.
All right.
Nice.
So I asked kind of the other folks.
Oh, we do have another one just popped in. Specifically for Jay. Jay, what is the process that you guys use to process, shower, and other leads that you buy? Do you have an in-house call center, inside sales team, or do you partner with a third?
So I'm our VP of marketing. So I oversee the call center, but I have a call center manager and an assistant call center manager. Great guy and gal. And so that's all in-house. They work remote, but they're onshore, just Bath Experts employees. And they process inbound and outbound leads. So, you know, like someone like DeBella, they're probably bringing in, 50, 60,000 leads a month. For me, I'm closer to like 8 to 10,000. Yeah. So that's kind of the amount of leads, roughly around 200-300 a day that we're processing. And then, call center outbound dials, or they take the inbound call, from direct mail and other traditional media, and then set the appointment from there. So I also work with a couple third parties for like age data. Or overflow and after hours stuff, or if like we don't pick up the phone after 20 seconds, it kicks over to them because I don't want anything going to voicemail. And I want everything to be picked up. Like that inbound call is going to cost me $500 more than likely. So like, I can't not let it get answered at the end of the day. So I do employ some third-party assistance when needed, but primary is our onshore internal call center that handles everything.
I have a follow-up to that just came into my head. Just with everything, big tech going back in office, you just said your team's mostly remote. I've heard a lot of teams talk about like getting people back in the office, which is a challenge when you hire a remote team. You said 20 states?
No, we're a lot smaller than that. We're in 3 states.
3 states.
Yeah.
But even still, 3 states.
Yeah.
So is that a consideration or is that a challenge? Do you have a challenge with a remote team?
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned that because we operate in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, but I live in New Mexico. So I'm like 1,500 miles away from the closest Bath Experts employee, the next closest. So I manage my whole team remote. at the end of the day, and everyone works remote. And it'd be hypocritical of me to ask them to come to the office when I'm not even there.
Sure.
And our ownership group's pretty progressive. So they're not really asking people to come in. You know, they're younger guys. They get it. They understand this is like the direction that things are going in, opens up talent pools. Employees are happier. And as long as, you know, you trust them to do what they're supposed to do, a little bit of oversight, managing their KPIs, like we don't have any problems. People say like, oh, call center remote. Like how can you trust a call center agent to do their job when you're not there looking over their shoulder? And it's like, well, metrics. Yeah, you track their metrics. And like, there's a certain level of trust there where if they're not performing, we see that right away. And my call center managers will address it. But we have great agents, and they all work remote. And actually, I hired someone from New Mexico as well. And then we have a couple agents in Tennessee also. So they're not all just in our markets, and it works fine.
That's great. Yeah. FullThrottle is a fully remote company. So my team alone is spread across the country.
Exactly.
I totally get it.
Yeah. You're able to do it as long, you know, you just got to trust them.
Oh, we got a question here, and we have about 5 minutes left. What conversion rates lead to set appointment do you guys currently have or shoot for?
Yeah, so it's so hard to compare across different companies because your marketing mix impacts your conversion rate so heavily, right? Like if you do a ton of direct mail, less outbound dialing, obviously you're going to have an overall higher book rate or set rate. So it's a little disingenuous to compare. And so I hate to do that, especially for me against my peers, because I'm like, I don't know what their marketing mix looks like. Mm-hmm. So you always got to like take it with a grain of salt, take that into consideration. Yeah. Don't beat yourself up because someone else is setting overall at 35% because you don't know how many inbounds they're getting and whether they're including that or not. So long-winded preamble, but at the end of the day, we set anywhere between overall 20 to 30%. And, you know, it's a mix. 75% of my leads are outbound, 25% are inbound. Okay. But the goal is to continue to increase inbound leads, you know, do more direct mail, a little more traditional media, which actually does really well for me, you know, in general, the marriage mailers, magazines, things like that. People still call. Full throttle. I am sending direct mail to the website visitors with you guys. So that launched this month. So we're going to see how that does.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Real quick. Let's just get a real quick photo right here on the
nice.
That's very meta.
Thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, man. Thanks for being on the first LeadsCon Live. Hopefully
this is awesome.
This is awesome, right?
I love it. I love it.
Shout out to Blair over here, our producer right here. Man, thank you for being on the show.
Likewise.
Dude, I'll see you tonight at dinner. Awesome.
Listen, Ruben, big fan of Ruben here. Big fan of Ruben and ActiveProspect. You guys always take care of me. You're so nice to me. You know, I'm your biggest fan.
Awesome, man.
One of your biggest fans.
Yeah. I appreciate you being here, man. Have a great LeadsCon today.
We'll have fun at dinner tonight.
Jay Shaw, everybody.
Oh, don't stand up. Don't stand up, guys. It's fine.
We met last year in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's right. I'm working with Frank. I got to say hi to him. Is he here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, 250.
Okay, he's at the booth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. It was good. It was good. Oh, man. That was a good LeadsCon live session. I know we have a few more questions. We'll stay on for a few more minutes here. Audience, what did you guys think about the show? So the whole goal here was to try to do something different than a traditional webinar. Obviously, a lot of the audience or a lot of people that we connect with are likely here. But for those of you who didn't get to attend, hopefully you got a little insight into what it is to come. And hopefully this inspires you to come out. And, you know, once again, we did a kind of golf event last night for home services and a bunch of other verticals. We did a morning publisher mixer down here. We're doing a home service dinner. We have the exhibit that just started. And so it's a great opportunity to get outside of your desk, kind of learn from folks. And
no, it's, I think like we said earlier, shaking hands, I think is an integral part of growth here. Learning from others, even in a 5-minute conversation or a 30-second elevator, you can glean insights from others. And I think it's an awesome experience to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions out there?
So Ruben, directed at you earlier.
All right.
What were your main takeaways from the lead scoring session you attended yesterday?
The lead scoring session yesterday. I think it was high level. I think there's different ways to lead score. So one, are you scoring the lead that you actually want to buy? And like, are you scoring it to be like, hey, do I want to buy or not buy this lead? or are you buying leads and then scoring them in your CRM or in your system so that you properly route them to the right call center rep? Like, should you call this lead 30, 40 times, or should you call it 3 times, and kind of scoring it based on your omni outreach? So I think one thing that was high level for me was there's different types of lead scoring at different parts of the funnel. 2, kind of wireframing, diagrams, making sure you kind of know the architecture of where your lead's going. That was interesting, and you know, something that folks need to do. But overall, I think there's also a bunch of lead scoring systems out there. Shout out to Faraday, shout out to Think Unlimited, shout out to ProPair, who was on the panel. But yeah, I think in general, it's kind of touched on it and just made me think about lead scoring a little bit more.
Awesome.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. A couple others. Pam thanks us for having the webinar.
You're welcome, Pam.
And asked if there are any good lead generation companies who follow the new FTC rules.
I think, yeah, for one-to-one consent, yeah, there's absolutely quite a few. I mean, we're probably going to go talk to some today. Off the top, there's companies like HomeBuddy. I think Lab and Media is another big, large brand that we work with. But yeah, there's quite a few, and there's a lot of the kind of third-party aggregators that kind of went down that path that are keeping that. I think you need to kind of communicate and figure out which ones are, but certainly just because the FCC is no longer pursuing one-to-one doesn't mean that it's not relevant.
Yeah, I think with all the money all these organizations spent to get right, even though it changed, I think it's still a good path forward.
Absolutely.
All right. Finally, before we close out, do you have any sessions that you're looking forward to attending today or tomorrow?
Oh, that's
just looking at my agenda.
You know, do you want to take that one?
Given my space, I think the one that I'm gonna try and catch at 1:30 in an hour and a half is the next level organic marketing session, leveraging AI and data to drive quality leads. I'm curious about that one just because, as we talked about FullThrottle, our power is in your website traffic. So we're helping you convert your traffic better and, really building on your brand. So I'm curious of the content in this organic marketing, because I think Jay brought it up, your marketing mix, it does vary. If you're spending 80% of your marketing budget on leads, right, as an example, maybe organic is not necessarily the play for you right now. But I just talked to a solar company earlier. They have spent 100% of their budget driving leads, and now they're spending the next 6 months focusing on building their own brand to drive traffic to their website, because that's.
And depending on where you want to put your time, I mean, some of the topics here, I'm just kind of reading straight from the kind of agenda here. Balancing the brand, strategies for driving national impact and hyper-local lead gen. Another event session, 6 strategies to unlock Gen Z and millennial growth.
Snapchat's here.
Lunch and learn, beat lead fatigue, data strategies to turn challenges to conversions in 2025. So once again, LeadsCon live. I think we're going to kind of close it out so we can kind of get down to the floor and work our booths. But thanks for everybody for making time. And if you're watching it live, thank you for making time.
Yes, thank you.
And for those who are watching this on recording, let us know if this was relevant and if you liked it and if we can do it again.
Yeah. Thanks, Ruben. Really.
No, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Blair, thank you.
Blair.
Our producer, Blair. And